Hey guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going over my Spook-a-thon TBR. So I decided to do my TBR for Spook-a-thon a little bit different this time, mostly because I'm still getting back into the swing of things, especially TBRs, after having my son. And no matter what, even before I had him, I never really seemed to stick to my TBR or even finish all the books on my TBR. So I'm going for more of a grouping of books that can definitely fit into the prompts, but I'm not necessarily assigning one book per prompt. I actually have multiple books here that would fit in multiple prompts, and there's even more books than the 5 prompts that we have, mostly just to give myself a chance to mood read the books and hopefully get through more things, not necessarily having that strict TBR. So we're definitely going to see how this works. So we do have, like I said, 5 prompts for Spook-a-thon. The first one is to read a thriller. The second one is to read a book with red on the cover. The third one is to read a book with a spooky word in the title. The fourth one is to read a book that is in a spooky setting. And the fifth book is to read a book that is not something you would normally read or is outside of your comfort zone. So the first 2 books I wanted to talk about are actually the first 2 books in a trilogy. They are The Secret Girl and The Ruthless Boys by C.M. Stunich. I have previously read The Secret Girl and it definitely ended on a cliffhanger. Definitely makes me want to read the second one, and I know she's currently working on the third one, so I was sort of holding off on these 2 until closer to the release date. The only problem is C.M. Stunich is an indie author who doesn't really give release dates because she works on multiple series at a time, and we have some readers in her readers group who can be a little unkind if she doesn't hit a release date that she has previously talked about. So completely understandable, we don't get release dates. However, it is something that is supposed to be done very, very soon, and I've been itching to read the first book again and then go into the second one because of the big cliffhanger we had at the end of the first one. But this is a series that is in the bully romance genre. However, I don't feel like it does it as much as some other bully romances do. So in case you're not aware, bully romances are basically books where usually the guy, the male love interest in the book, is a bully to the female, and for whatever reason, usually there is some sort of redemption arc. They end up being a couple. Now this, The Secret Girl, I think this is the Adamson Academy series. Very, very light on the bullying aspect. I've only read the first book, but that seems to be where the majority of the bullying would be. But it is mostly because our main female character is an asshole. Let's just go with that. She is the only girl at an all-boys school, but because of the fact that she doesn't want people to know she's a girl, she dresses up as a boy. Her real name is Charlotte, and she goes by Chuck. And she feels like the only way to really get away with dressing as a boy and being a boy there is to basically shun everybody else away and be an asshole to them. So the group of boys that we get to know in the first book basically dish it back. Nothing super bullying, nothing super crazy, but at least there is a reason for the bully aspect in the book. The main reason I'm having these books as a TBR item is the fact that, yes, this is supposed to be a bully romance. However, there are very dark mystery and thriller vibes in this book as well. We find out that there used to be a first girl at this school. However, in the year that she went to school there, she ended up killed. It looked like it was a suicide. However, her brother also goes to school there and he is not convinced that's exactly what happened, and we definitely have sort of like a murder mystery thriller type of thing going on, especially if anybody's gonna figure out that Chuck is actually a girl. I really enjoyed the first one. I'm looking forward to reading the second and third. The next book that I have for this TBR is Final Girls by Riley Sagar. This obviously would fill a couple different prompts there, especially the one with red on the cover. This one, I don't remember too much about it, but I had heard pretty good things when it first came out, and I've been hearing more and more good things with each subsequent book that Riley Sagar has done, and it just was one of those books that I picked up, I believe, on like discount at Barnes & Noble a couple months ago, and I've been sort of saving it for October. Because it is more of a mystery thriller, I don't want to read too much into it, but I do believe this has something to do with a couple different girls. because at the very top, like just like the black words here, it was the only thing I let myself reread once I was picking this up again. Basically just says, first there were 3, then there were 2. Can there only ever be one final girl? So I'm assuming there are multiple final girls and something is going on with that. Again, I don't want to read too much into it, but this is definitely a possibility for the Spook-a-thon. We also have the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. Again, this one could definitely go for a few different things, especially with the red on the cover. And this one is definitely going to hit more of a, I want to say maybe like magical fantasy, magical realism sort of thing, because of the fact that our main character is trying to solve the death of Evelyn Hardcastle. But each day that he lives is going to be in a different person's body, and it basically restarts every single day until he figures it out. It sounds very interesting, and I haven't heard of this concept before. It reminds me a little bit of like Groundhog's Day, except for the fact that they're waking up in a different person's body every single time, and so I would be very excited to get to this. It is one of the bigger books that I have on this TBR, so we shall see, but I really do want to read this as well. The next book that I have on here is The Haunted by Danielle Vega. Danielle Vega is also the author of the Merciless books, which are the perfect like YA horror books for this time of year. And when I say YA horror, they are definitely more mature YA, like the higher end of the teen spectrum, just because of the stuff that they deal with in them. And so I have read, I think actually every single book she has written except for the last book in the Merciless series, and then this one. This is the newest one by her. This one has to deal with like a haunted house, so we definitely have like a haunted, spooky setting, but we also have the word haunted in here, which could definitely deal with a spooky word in the title. I don't want to know too much else. This is one of the shorter books that I have on the list, so this is definitely a good possibility to get through for the Spook-a-thon. And like I said before, I've really enjoyed her other books, and so I'm sure this one should be living up to my personal hype as well. Then we also have the Babysitter's Coven by Kate Williams. This one here would be more of a lighthearted book, I want to say, for the Spook-a-thon, just for the books I have picked out personally, because this one is sort of a mix between the Babysitter's Club and Witches, but I've also heard it has like the tone of like the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, and so that sounds really fun. I'm loving the colors on this cover, and again, this one, you could use the word coven for a spooky word, just because basically anything that makes you think like Halloween, that for me would definitely equate to a spooky word in the title, so might be pushing it a little bit, but I would definitely love to read this. Then we also have The Institute by Stephen King. This is the newest Stephen King book, and I am a huge Stephen King fan. Haven't been keeping up with his newest releases very well, but this one, according to the summary, has hints of his like tone and themes from like Firestarter and It, which are some of his older books that I really enjoyed, and so I would really love to read this again. This is one of the bigger books on this TBR, so we'll see exactly what happens. But this one apparently follows a boy whose parents have been killed, and he is taken to an institute. I don't know much else about it, but because it's been compared to It, I'm really hoping to love it, because that is my absolute favorite book by him. And then we also have The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. This is the really pretty UK edition, just because I think this edition is absolutely gorgeous. And this one is blurred by Stephen King, so I have mentioned, obviously, that I love Stephen King, and if he blurbs something, I'm likely to read it as well. This would definitely go for like the prompt of a scary, spooky setting, and all I know about this one, again, because it is a sort of like horror thriller, is that apparently it is about a family in a cabin in the woods, and I think a group of people or something show up basically saying that they're the people who are gonna like save humanity. I don't know much else. I think I've heard that it does have like some sci-fi-ish fantasy vibes, and I've had this one for a while now, and I have been wanting to read it, and somehow I just keep putting it off. So hopefully this is one that I can definitely get into. And then we also have Darkhouse by Karina Halle, I want to say, Hale or Halle. I've read one other book by her that was a romance book. I believe it was The Swedish Prince. iffy on that book. And from what I've seen from some of the reviews on Darkhouse, it seems like it's quite hit or miss. I believe this is one of her first novels. She's an indie author, and this one could actually fit for a couple categories. It could either fit for a spooky location, because I believe there's a haunted lighthouse, but it could also fit for a book you're not really likely to read, only because for me personally, this is supposed to be a like romance, like a spooky romance. It has two characters. One, I believe, sees ghosts, and the other one is like a YouTuber ghost hunter. And this is the first book in a series where they're dealing with a haunted lighthouse. I'm pretty sure that's all I know. It definitely seems, because I have it on an ebook, it would be something easy to read while I'm dealing with baby things. So that's another possibility. We also have Die Dragonfly by Linda Joy Singleton. This is another first in a series, which actually basically anything that's a first in a series could also fit for the book you're not likely to read, or at least for the readathon. I love series, however, for something that's like a one-off readathon like this, I don't prefer to read first books in a series, just because then I want to continue with the series that might not fit with other prompts. But this is a book that I read back, I want to say when it came out. Looks like it originally came out around 2004. This printing is from 2007, so somewhere between when I was 14 and 17 years old, I read this first one. This is a young adult type of book. I don't remember much about it. I have the whole series, and I think I've only read the first two of them, but it is actually quite short. It's like a pocket-ish size. It's only like a couple hundred, less than 300 pages on here, and from what I remember, it deals with a girl who has some sort of psychic gift, and I think she foresees somebody's death. I would double check the back, but there is a sticker right over the summary, so we're just gonna leave it at that. This is a series I've been wanting to restart for a while, so it is again a very good possibility. Also, the word die could be a spooky word. We have a lot of prompts that one book could cover for most of the ones I have here. And then the very last one that I have on my list is Primary Suspect by Laura Scott. This one here, I just thought of it actually last night before I started to film this video, and I'm putting this currently as my book that I am not likely to read, or as one that is outside of my comfort zone, because this is another one of those romantic suspense type of books. But also, I did not pick this out. This was a free gift that I got the last time I went to Barnes & Noble when I purchased a romance book, and I was given this. It is, again, very short because it is from the love-inspired suspense series. These books in general are usually those kind of books that you see in the romance section where they have like monthly releases, and it'll actually say like April of 2019, May of 2019, June of 2019, but like in the bookstore, because I used to work there and I know how it works, you get them when they come in from the publisher, and you only keep them on your shelves there until the next ones come in from the publisher. They're like serialized type of books. Like, they're not necessarily series, but you only have 1 month at a time on the shelves. So once they're gone from, you know, the bookstores, they're basically gone. And that's how it feels for this one. I'm pretty sure Love Inspired is one of those brands that actually does the monthly ones, but this is a free one. I don't know much about it. It's very, very short. I think this is the shortest one on my TBR right now. Like, just 216 pages. So this could be a very easy read. So one, it's not a book that I picked up myself. Two, it is a suspenseful book. I believe there's a fire investigator and an ER nurse. So we'll see about that. But this, out of all the books on my TBR, would definitely be one that I would not read, or at least not choose for myself. So that fits that prompt very, very well. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is way more books than I would be planning to read in a 7-day readathon. But like I said at the beginning, I sort of want to mood read these and figure out what I can read or what I want to read at a certain time. If you guys want to suggest any of these ones for me for a specific reason, like maybe it's your favorite one or it's one that you've been curious about but nobody's read yet, let me know in the comments down below and I will definitely try to prioritize those. But otherwise, I'm very excited to start this readathon. I'm pretty sure you guys are actually seeing this video Monday, the day the readathon starts. So I will definitely have a vlog up at the end and we'll see which ones I read, but I'm not going to be too ambitious. I just had way too many books that I really, really want to read, and we will have to see exactly what happens. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Mondays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!